welcome to today's video blog. For today's video blog, I'm going to do my wrap up for the, I guess, month of February. We're towards the end of March, but I don't think I did one for February. So, these are a look at the, first of all, I need a haircut. I mean, yeah, seriously, this is like, it's down to my butt at this point. So, the next couple of videos, I will have probably this hair still, because I'm recording a bunch of them today, but, probably in the end of April, maybe, depending on when I record my next batch, this will be gone! And I'll probably get it to, like, up to here, maybe? Ish. Just more manageable, because I can't do anything with this anymore. I don't have the patience. I like pretty things, but I'm not like a girly type of person. I don't have the patience for that. Okay, so book wrap up for the month of, I think, February. I should really check before I start these, but yeah, okay. So, first book is a little novella by Sophie Jordan called The Earl in My Bed. And I believe, yeah, she's Paget Ellsworth, and she's marries the Earl of Winningham's youngest son. And even though, like, she was supposed to marry his brother, but he went off to war, even though they weren't really, they were together, but it was just sort of expected that they would marry, even though, like, as Owen is off to war, her feelings sort of kind of change. And just because they were all friends when they were younger, Owen, Brand, and Paget. And there is the other brother, Jamie, who was never really a part of their gang, but because he was more like standoffish and shy, and they took this for he was stuck up and didn't like them, so they didn't like him and they didn't let him play with them, and it was just mean and sad when they were younger. And so they're grown now. Owen's off to war. The other brother, Brand, has died, and I think Jamie had also gone off to war, but I think Jamie gets injured and comes back to, because his father dies, so Jamie comes back as he's the heir to take up the earldom. And so Paget and Jamie reunite, and they, of course, sparks fly, and it's all like lovely. And I mean, like, his name is Jamie. If you're an Outlander fan, you know what that means. Of course she's gonna fall in love with him. His name is Jamie. But it's all very steamy and sexy. But my only complaint, and there was no helping this, is that the ending was like too abrupt and too short, and like the story was too short. But I knew it would be because it's a novella. So I was expecting it, but at the same time, I wish there was more. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend The Earl in My Bed by Sophie Jordan. It's a quick little read. You're gonna want more. You're gonna want more. Like, the ending, it's like, yes, like, I'm not spoiling anything, it's a romance. They end up together. But I found it, like, too abrupt, and I wanted more of them, like, developing that. But that's my only complaint. The next one is Joe Beverly's Forbidden, and it's a historical as well. And I loved Serena and Francis. I mean, Francis is engaged to be married, or he hasn't proposed yet, I don't think. is he's going to ask this Lady Anne, to marry him because he thinks she's a suitable wife. And he hasn't really experienced, I guess, like passion or true love. And so like it's kind of like he doesn't know what he's missing, kind of thing. And so he's sort of resigned to his lot in life of marrying, respectably, and blah blah blah. And then he meets Serena. Serena is on the run from her crazy ass brothers because they want to marry her off again and steal more of her money, because they married her off when she was 15 to this asshat, this evil asshat, who completely took advantage of this young girl and traumatized her with his depravity. So she is very much um, afraid of, I guess, of the sexual knowledge that she has up to that point. She sees sex as this frightening, vile thing that is used against her. Yet at the same time, she realizes her own sexual power and sort of is not opposed to using that to survive and get what she wants. So her idea is she's on the run from her brothers. So she thinks she's going to become a courtesan, or a prostitute, as it were, to survive and have her own life. And then she meets Francis. And just the two of them together, like, Francis is this virginal duke. I don't know, they're lord, excuse me. He's like a lord. And he like doesn't, like, he up to that point he hadn't gone and like sowed his oats, as it were. And the first time he's all like he's going to protect Serena and he's not going to touch her because he thinks she's already a prostitute, even though when they first meet she hadn't become a prostitute yet. She was just in the bar trying to start, as it were. So they meet and they I think he turns her down, and so she takes off, and then she ends up in this storm, and he like feels bad, so he like takes her to protect her. And she sort of feels like, if I can seduce him, maybe he will make me his mistress, and I can be, protected, and he can like, take care of me, and I can like have my own life, because she doesn't want to get married again. She wants to live her own life, and the easiest way for a woman at that time to do that was either by being a widow or being a mistress, because if you're a wife, you lose all your, like, everything you have is your husband's, and you lose all your own power. And she's, I guess, technically a widow because the evil husband does die, but she doesn't want anyone to know who she is. So her safest bet for her, that she believes, is to become this man Francis's mistress. Now, the way she goes about that, I would think is a little controversial, and it left me with a kind of feeling. She seduces him while he's sleeping, while he's like half asleep, so he wakes up to the fact that she's essentially raping him, and he's still like in a dreamlike state, so he doesn't remember a lot about how he lost his virginity, and that's very sad. And that was the first little that like got me like kind of not into where this was going. Um, then the second part was that it kept veering into other people's points of view. I mean, the reason that he's on the road in the first place and encounters her is he's trying to find this guy who's blackmailing his mother because his mother like took this guy, I think, as a lover, and he was now blackmailing her to ruin her reputation or something. Um, and like it kept veering into like alternate points of view. And when I like my romances, I like two people's points of view. I like the hero and the heroine. Uh, for it to veer into like other people's points of view, not that this wasn't well written. Jo Beverly, she's an amazing writer. It just, I don't know. I have to really, really be in love with the book to tolerate it veering into like other people's points of view, and the other people's points of view have to really, really strongly interest me for me to stick with a romance that doesn't just have the hero and heroine's point of view. And this one, it just kept doing that, and it like I DNF'd it. I didn't finish it, but I enjoyed Serena and Francis's story, just that bit of rapiness from her to him, which was a switch. Just yeah, that just made me kind of cringe a little, so I didn't finish it. Oh, the next one, Penny Jordan's A Cure for Love. Penny Jordan, R.I.P. I loved her books. She has these like big melodramatic romances, and she wrote a lot for Harlequin. Um, and I've loved her books over the years. This one didn't do it for me because it has the whole what is it, Lacey and what was his name, Lewis. Um, Lacey and Lewis, they were married, and he divorced her because I think he said he didn't love her anymore. There was somebody else, blah blah, blah. And it then turns out that's not true. That he found out that he has this disease that could be passed on to his children. So he decides to divorce Lacey, and before they could have children, so that he doesn't pass on the disease, not knowing, oh boy, she was pregnant. So she thinks he doesn't want children anymore, that he didn't want children, so she doesn't tell him that she was pregnant when he divorced her. So cut to like 20 years later, they meet up again, and I think it's the second or third chapter, they reunite, and he tells her that the reason he divorced her, like she's like a hospital worker person, charity foundation person who she's trying to raise money to fight this life-threatening disease that I like, it's like a genetic thing. And oh, it turns out that their daughter Jessica might have it. And I think it's in the second or third chapter that when Lewis is back in their lives, and he tells Jessica that the reason, or not Jessica, he tells Lacey that the reason that they divorced, that he left her, was not because he didn't love her or not because he had another woman, but because he had this disease. So I'm like, okay, this is like the second chapter, and she knows, like, it's not this big secret looming over them. So I didn't really see like what was the conflict that was going to sustain them for the next like 100 or 200 pages. And also the book had a lot of like, there was a lot of telling, like a lot of like Danielle Steele type, just pages and pages of like of exposition, and like just not like telling you what was happening. And I think there was like maybe one line of dialogue for like every page, for like pages and pages. And I was like, I don't remember Penny Jordan's books being like that, or maybe like at the time I didn't mind, but it I don't know, it didn't grab me for that reason. And I ended up DNFing it. So, and that made me sad because I usually love Penny Jordan's books. So Penny Jordan's A Cure for Love. I didn't finish it, sadly. The next one disappointed me because it's Patricia Rice, and I loved her. Patricia Rice's Merely Magic. Merely Magic. Very pretty cover. It's historical with sort of magical elements to it because the heroine, I believe, is a good witch, and the hero, Drogo, is a man of science who doesn't believe in that stuff. So that was a very interesting premise to me. Um, this one disappointed me. It didn't grab me. I didn't feel that there was a real like spark or chemistry between the hero and the heroine. The writing just didn't grab me to continue reading, and I didn't finish it. Which is sad because I adored Patricia Rice's Wayward Angel. I loved that book, and this one just did not. Now, this next one we're going to have a little conversation about. Danielle Steele's The Award. I liked this book. I despised the ending. I hated the ending to this book so much. So, what's the heroine's name? Gael. Jael. Book takes place during World War II in France, in Nazi-occupied France. And Gael is this 17-year-old who the Nazis are living in her house, and she is doing these secret. She's secretly working for the resistance, helping to get the babies, like people are giving their babies to her to give to these like not orphanages but like places that will get the babies, I guess, out of France and to safety and to save them. So parents are giving up their children, and she's helping in that effort. She also saves these like artistic pieces from the Nazis, so that because the Nazis are historically known that they stole a lot of Jewish art, and so in these, like, there's this guy, this, I don't remember if he's a general or what, but he asks her to if she could save these paintings so that they aren't, even though he's a Nazi, he asks her to save these paintings so that the Nazis don't get a hold of them, and that they can, I guess, maybe later be returned to their rightful owners, because he doesn't want to see the art get stolen. And yeah. So her nanny or housekeeper or what, like, her mother dies in the house. Her father and her brother dies as well. Her father dies. Her father was part of the resistance as well. So it's just her at this point, and her mother, who dies later, thinking that she and the mother and the housekeeper think that she's sleeping with the Nazi general to get them food and all this stuff, but she isn't. But she gets branded as a collaborator. Then the war ends, and she falls in love with this, of course, richer, older man who, helps her become this successful, powerful woman. And they end up having a daughter, Dominique. I think her name was Dominique. Yeah, Dominique. Who the father, Gael completely, like, leaves France, starts a new life, and with this man, and has this daughter. And the father completely spoils the daughter. Like, doesn't, like, the mother, like, she can't discipline her. So the daughter grows up to become this spoiled, awful, awful person who um loves the father, hates the mother for inexplicable reason because she's just this spoiled bitch, or spoiled bleep because YouTube doesn't like swearing. Um, and so the older man dies, the older husband dies, as is typical in Danielle Steele books, so that she can fall in love and marry a younger hot stud guy. In what is his name? I can't remember what the husband's name was. I want to say no, Christoph. Christoph. Fine. So they fall in love and get married, and the daughter hates him because, of course, her father was everything to her, and this daughter makes her mother's life a living hell. Like, she's just awful to her. Um, the mother has a daughter, has a son and a daughter, another daughter with Christoph. The son ends up dying. Dominique, the first daughter, the spoiled, awful daughter, doesn't come to the funeral for the little boy because when they were born, she wanted nothing to do with Christoph or his offspring that he had with her mother. So she doesn't even like acknowledge them or wants to tolerate them at all. So she goes off to live her life, and then the son dies, and she doesn't come to the funeral because she can't. She says she can't take the time off work because she's very busy. And then the husband dies, and I don't remember if she came for that. I think she came for that, but just to like put in an appearance. Um, and then towards the end of the book, uh, the granddaughter, or no, her other daughter, the one that she had with Christoph, Daphne, has a daughter. So yes, it's Gael's granddaughter who's always been fighting for her grandmother to get this award of acknowledgement for the help that she gave during World War II, getting those babies out to safety and the lives that she saved. But there was always that brand of Gael potentially being a German Nazi collaborator, but that never really comes to light. Like, I was hoping for, so Gail she gets the award and it's lovely, and but the German collaborator part, that never really comes to light. There's never any like this big blow up of scandal, like, oh my god, this woman was a Nazi collaborator and we must blah, blah, blah. Like, they did it to her at the end of the war, like right after the end of the war. Like, they like attacked her. The other French people who believed that she was a Nazi collaborator attacked her and other women like her in the streets, and they like shaved her head, and it was just awful. And then she ran. She was starving and she couldn't work, and so she ran off um, to find. Hopefully, she ended up finding a job as a model, of course, and becomes like this successful blah blah. And that's how she meets the rich older man. But there was never that reveal of, oh my god, this woman was a Nazi collaborator, kind of thing. Like, towards the end of like when she was like going to get her award or whatever. So that was disappointing. Um, and the thing that really, really pissed me off was the granddaughter reaches out to Dominique and, like, tells her, your mother's going to get this award, you should be there, blah, blah, blah. So Dominique goes to the award ceremony, and she's there with the mother, and she looks like she's sad, and she seems to have regret her treatment of her mother, but they never actually have a conversation. They never actually have a conversation of Dominique groveling. I wanted this girl to grovel on her knees, sobbing and begging her mother for forgiveness for the hell that she put her through for like 40 years. But that never happened. All she does is look sad towards her mother with tears in her eyes, and her mother hugs her, and everything is lovely, and there's forgiveness, and which never, like, there's no acknowledgement of Dominique actually vocalizing that she wanted that forgiveness or like any of that. I was so mad that Gael just took her daughter into her arms and hugged her, and it was like, oh, they were finally at peace and we're gonna have a good relationship now. No, no, this Dominique was horrible to her mother. Like I said, I wanted her on her knees, sobbing, begging for forgiveness, begging for telling her mother how she was sorry for how she treated her and not being there for when her little brother died. I I was so mad. I was so mad. If I was not in public when I had read this book, when I'd finished this book, this would have been a thrown against the wall book. So it was like the plot of it was okay. The writing again was like it's Danielle Steele. It's pages and pages of exposition with like a few lines of dialogue here and there. But I kept reading it because I love that era of like World War II. Yeah. So, but the ending, oh, I despise the ending. So, Danielle Steele, the award, and that is going to be the end. What am I reading right now? Oh, hang on a second. Let me go get it. Sorry. Right now, I am reading Catherine Kincaid's beloved Bondage. And it has an insert cover, which makes me so happy. And I will read the back blurb for you. Catherine Kincaid's beloved Bondage. Rome in the time of Caligula was a land of sumptuous excess and barbarous cruelty unparalleled by any other known society. The execution of the emperor's orders was absolute and swift, until one woman fought the court's enormous power so she could follow the voice of her conscience and the call of her heart. Myra purchased Lucas to save him from fighting in Rome's gladiator arena. The blonde Briton, once a proud warrior prince in his native country, would serve her well as a household guard. But before she realized it, Myra found herself aching to surrender to his uncompromising gaze and forbidden touch, as he thrilled her with sensuous delights that raveled the most dazzling offerings of a Roman feast. That's Beloved Bondage by Catherine Kincaid. I've hit 100 pages on it so far. Really liking it. I'm really liking the voice, her writing voice. Oh, so I figured, oh, can I do this without like, maybe I should do this for like a separate video. Well, no, I want to do like the wrap up thing all together. Let's see here. Right now, I am reading. See if I can just get the cover of it for you. On my cover. Let's see if, yeah, okay. So right now I am reading The Wedding Trap by Adrienne Bell. And it's so far the heroine has invented a fiance, Beth. She's invented a fiance, Charlie, to keep her mother, I guess, off her back, I guess. So now there's a wedding coming up, so she needs a Charlie. And so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Right, quite enjoying it so far. Let me see what other. I finished. Meh, sorry, I'm still getting used to these. Cover. I want the cover. Ah, there we go. I finished The Winter Duchess by Gillian Eaton. Really enjoyed that one. It was so cute. It was arranged marriage. Duke is a, you know, grew up in a family where his mother used sex and emotion as a weapon, and his parents always fought, so he did not grow up in a happy childhood. So he thinks that love makes you weak and makes you miserable, so he has turned off all emotions until he gets married to this woman child, Caroline, who awakens these feelings in him. So how dare she? So he's horrible to her for like a good chunk of the book as he tries to fight his happy pants for her. Um, but I really liked the end where he realizes he loves her, and then she gets in danger, like, and then she gets caught in a storm or something, and she like almost dies by these wolves. Um, I really like that he had come to the realization that he loves her before that happened, because a lot of the times like it's sort of like the cliche thing, like, oh, I hate you, I hate you, I don't want to have feelings for you. The sex is amazing, but I don't want to have feelings for you. Love is evil and blah blah blah. And then the heroine gets hurt, and it's like that makes him realize, oh, I do love you, and blah blah blah. That's sort of like the cliche, and like it's fine, if you're gonna go that way, fine. But I like when it's not that way. And when he does admit his feelings for her, she's still, she still makes him work for it. She's not like, oh, now you all of a sudden have decided that you love me after treating me horribly for like all this time. It's like, no, I'm not just gonna take you back into my bed, blah blah blah. So it was really really good. I highly recommend it. Let's see if I can get this one here. See if I can find the one that. Yeah, this one. This one disappointed me. I can try and get the cover. Yes. This one disappointed me. Alpha by Jacinda Wilder. I didn't finish it because I didn't like her voice, and I like, the more I read it, the more I realized that I think I did read another book from her, and I didn't finish that one. But the blurb for this one was so good that it's like, this girl is in horrible debt. I think her mother, like, she has like medical bills and like that whole thing, and like she's about to, I think she's kicked out of her house. She loses her job because her her boss is an asshole. Um, and then she gets this check for like $10,000, and with the first word is you. And then so she pays off all, like, she doesn't know what to do, and she figures like, well, if this is the mob and I'm gonna die, I might as well pay off all my bills anyway, and use it. um and then if they're gonna come kill me, well, then so be it, kind of thing. Or like I'll like run, or do something, or try and figure out something. um but then the next month, another check for another $10,000 come, and the second word says belong. And uh consecutively for like a couple of months, another check comes, and the words spell out, you belong to me. once they get to the last check, she gets a knock on the door of this guy, this like official looking like guy, like he looks like this guy that works for the guy who's been sending the checks. And he blindfolds her and he takes her to this guy's penthouse or suite or something. Um, and basically, she's there to um, serve the guy who paid off her debts. And it's like I really loved the premise, and I don't know, maybe because it had like that new adult voice. I don't like that voice where it's just, I don't know, maybe it's because like I can't relate to it anymore. I don't know. But it's like I like, books of like where females of like they're in their 20s or whatever. Like I'm okay with that. It's just some of them that they just, I don't know. I didn't like Jacinda Wilder's writing voice, so I DNF'd that one, and that was disappointing because I really, really liked the blurb. Let me see if I can find. I don't know if I have it on my Kindle or on my Google Play one, but let me see if I can find. I want to go to my library. There was another one. No, I think it was probably in my Google Books. Bear with me. I'm still learning. I'm still learning the techs, the technologies. Where are you, Google? Google Books, where are you? Where did you go? I know this is fascinating viewing for you all. Docs. Google. I feel like that old woman in the oh good grief, in the video where she's like trying to figure out how to use, there's the books, how to use Alexa, I think is the Amazon one. Let me see. Download it. No, don't turn it off. That's the one I want. No. Okay, hang on. Let me see. There we are. Then there's this one, which I absolutely loved. Let's see if I can get just the cover to show you. Can I? There we are. Yes. A Little Harmless Sex by Melissa Schroeder. I loved this book. I loved this book. It has a special place in my heart because it was technically the first ebook that I downloaded on this thing. And it was like, yay, I can read books on my phone. And it was, let me see if I can, okay. Rather than me trying to remember the whole plot, because this was a while ago, but I always wanted to share it with you guys, and I never knew how until now. So I'm good with the computers. Yay! Is it love or just a little harmless sex? Max has always been Anna's knight in shining armor, but Max has always seen her as a charming and very sexy little sister, until Max's cold fiance dumps him. Anna unloads another of her many conquests, and she invites him over for margaritas and Mexican food. Too much tequila, too much flirting, and too many years of fighting the attraction. Max loses control and has mind-blowing sex with Anna on her couch, and in her shower, and in her bed. When the sun rises the next morning, both of them must face that their night together is just the first of many. For Max, he knows he wants Anna forever, but convincing a commitment phobe like Anna is no easy task. For Anna, she can't believe she's finally slipped beneath Max's steely self-control. He is every woman's dark, wet fantasy come true. But what happens when Max pushes Anna for more than just a little harmless sex? This book was so good. I love friends to lovers stories. Um, I would highly, highly recommend it. It's poor Anna was dumped by this just treated horribly by this guy in high school, and so it sort of skewed her idea of relationships, where it's just, you know, don't give your heart, it's just sex and blah blah blah. But she's always had, of course, this attraction for Max, her friend. But of course, she doesn't want to like cross that line with him because he's the one, good thing, good male figure that she has in her life. And she feels like if she wrecks it with sex, then, because she's not going to be able to give her emotions, then, they're going to ruin the friendship and blah, blah, blah. But it ends up happening. And it's just Max, like, breaking down her defenses. And it's just beautiful. And I highly, highly recommend it. Okay, so those were my reads for the month of February, we'll say. um, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie, like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!